Hello again, and welcome back to what I'm calling my journey as a dyslexic. My name is Alden Albino. My series is on how I'm learning to speak, read, and write French as a dyslexic, but also my thoughts and feelings on being a dyslexic. Today's video in my series is being dyslexic a prison sentence? Sounds a little harsh, but as I said, I've been looking through and trying to find out more about dyslexics myself, how we are in the world and what is going on. Of course, there are positive things and negative things, and today I'm going to talk about, I guess, a tragedy. I would call it a tragedy. Looking through a lot of documentations, I have found out some very interesting information that, of course, it is the States versus Canada, but I think there's a lot of similarities, and it opens up a new question for me. So let me begin by saying, yes, there's no excuse. You should own up for whatever you've done, but at the same time, is it because of circumstances? Is it because of things? There was a movie years and years ago called Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. Who else was in that movie? There was Dan Aykroyd. Basically, the movie was, Jamie Lee Curtis. The movie was based on, if you are put in very harsh conditions, anyone can change who they are. But as I said, that does not negate the fact that you have done something wrong and you have to pay your time for that. So, in saying that, what I found out recently is that in the States, the University of Texas Medical Branch, in conjunction with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, has done some information. So let's see if we can find some parallels here. In the States, like in Canada, 20% of people are dyslexic in the public. What they found out during their study is that close to, well, more than double, 48% of prisoners are dyslexic. And that I find very interesting. Now, we can turn around and say that we are Canada versus the US and how things are running. And I mean, part of it is the education system. And again, we could poke at theirs being different than ours. But here's some more fun facts. I just read a recent fact that said 30%, again, 30% of Canadians in Ontario are passing their English test. That means in their mother tongue, only 30% are passing their English test, which is very disturbing. I don't even want to think about them trying to work on a second language, what the stats or percentage of that is, then compound that with being dyslexic and no funding or hardly any funding to help these young kids go through that. And that's where I'm trying to think about that now when it comes to these prisoners. As I said, I don't condone the behavior, but I have to question, were they put in a difficult situation, and are we doing the same thing to our kids here? Or do we still have the same sort of stats for prisoners as we do in the US? Because one of the debates I had with a very intelligent person, a good friend of mine, we're talking about, well, if they put the money up front, well, we know that that's not happening in the education. They're not taking care of business earlier on in life for these kids, especially dyslexics, to move them forward. So if you do happen to be dyslexic and you do happen to get through the barrier and not end up in jail, the next barrier, which is one of the reasons I come up to, is that in Canada you must have a bilingual language profile to be able to get a decent job in Canada. That means in the federal or provincial job market, because one of the first things they ask you is if you have a language profile, which becomes an issue, especially if we are not able to teach our kids their own mother tongue, more or less, a second language, and definitely be able to handle dyslexic the kids, moving them forward. So even if you were lucky to not be one of those people, not incarcerated, and lucky enough to get into a job, again, the procedure of turning around and saying you must have a language profile to even move ahead in your career is hampering those who can otherwise be helping your companies, your government, and moving forward. So I go back to me, it's not that we are a beautiful country that has a duolingual system, a bilingual system, but the fact that how that is implemented by saying We will not give you a job. You cannot get a job unless you have that language profile. So this whole video series is to see, through my eyes, how difficult it is to become bilingual, in my case learning French as a dyslexic, and maybe you can help me spot things and help me fix things, which would be an absolute bonus. Because if that is what I think it is, and it's almost impossible or not possible at all, then I go back to the main question: how should Canada handle dyslexics when it comes to hiring and promoting moving forward in their career? Should we still be using this system of, if you don't have a language profile, so sad, too bad, and move on? I would love to hear your feedback on that. Again, it was a pleasure talking to you. Please leave your comments and any thoughts you have on anything I say. I'm extremely open to hearing them. And again, it's a really harsh way for my opening, or my sentence for it is being dyslexic a prison sentence? Your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Anyhow, for now, thank you so very much and have a good day. Bye.